Hey everybody, will be considered a very advanced training video, and this video will be shown not to every single one of my customers. This video will only be shown to a very select handful of customers, those who have purchased one of our premium lists or are a premium client, high volume email client, or promoting client. This is kind of more or less, I've put this together because many of you ask me the question of how do I send out mass bulk email, and I could explain this thoroughly on the phone, but many of you are like, I really wish I would have taken notes, and since I didn't, I'm not going to remember what you say, so I am recording this video for you. Here are some websites. I specifically keep having this page open because I want you to write these websites down. GoTrusted.com, excelsoft.com/turbomailer.html, macro-expert.com, and then we got hosting through Lunar Pages and HostGator.com, and then we have domains under name.com. Now, there's something very, very important here that you need to know out of the gate. What you don't want to do is you need to get a dedicated server. There's two things you're going to have to get. You're going to have to get a dedicated server, and you're going to have to get a bulk mailer. Now, the dedicated servers, you want to get a dedicated server that is not related to your primary website domain address hosting company. So let's pretend you own abc.com. If you own abc.com, and let's say abc.com, you're hosting through, let's say, GoDaddy, for example. Okay, you don't want to hook up your bulk mailer to GoDaddy's hosting. If you do, they can shut down your website. You don't want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to set up your hosting through a third-party dedicated server that is not related to your primary domains that make the most money, because you want to have to where if all hell breaks loose, God forbid that it does, but if it does, that you always have that backup option, and you could throw away those domains or that hosting, and it never touches your primary money-making website. So there are some hosting providers out there that I've seen that are kind of slack, that are kind of good, and lunarpages.com is one of them. HostGator.com is one of them. And when you sign up for these different dedicated server plans, and you'll need to sign up according to the specifications of whatever bulk mailer you're using. So if you need to look at TurboMailer, you need to look at any other bulk mailer out there that you can be using. You need to look at what specifications on what kind of server that you need that are compatible. How is that software compatible with that particular server? Because there's some servers that you'll need a Linux server, some servers you'll need Windows 2003, there's some servers that you might need that are Windows 2008. So it depends on the bulk mailer, and it depends on the specifications of that bulk mailer and how it's compatible with that particular server. And then what you do is you go to lunarpages.com or HostGator.com, and then what you'll do is and this is what it looks like. This is a Lunar Page website, and then you can see here they've got hosting solutions, and you go down here to dedicated hosting, and then you'll go through the different dedicated servers. And a lot of these companies will have live chat or a telephone number. You can call like an 800 number here, and you just ask them the specifications, and they will give you the specs and what you need, and direct you to the right page, and then you buy that server. Now, what you do not want to do is you don't want to tell them that you're getting that for the sole purposes of emailing. Okay, you don't want to let these people know that you're about to use their servers as basically a mail server, so you can just blast out all over God's creation. What you want to do is you need to pretend that you are almost like a hosting company in yourself, that you're going to be subcontracting that server out to your clients, kind of like a web developer does. If you've ever gotten a really expensive web developer, you pay your web developer, they build your website, and you pay them for the hosting. Well, in the same manner, you have to basically take on that role. That's what they need to basically think of you as, that you're not just an emailer. So that way, if anybody does complain against you for spam complaints, you can always say to yourself, you could always say to the company, hey, I had no idea that this domain was spamming on here. I can't believe that. I'm going to fire the client immediately. And you could take that domain off your server, and you could replace it with a new domain instantly. Now, what I mean by domains, I'm going to give you an example. Name.com. This is where I go get my domains. Name.com is really, really cheap. They have private whois directory. So Name.com is where I buy all my domains because they save me about $10 compared to GoDaddy. and they really don't care. I mean, you could blast out anything, you can be blacklisted, and they won't even. I mean, these guys just don't care. Just as long as you're not using any type of hosting that they have, which I don't even think they have, you're perfectly fine. So get your domains from name.com, get your servers from either Lunar Pages, HostGator.com. And what you do is set up throwaway domains. So if you own, let's say, abc.com, what you want to do is you'll get, let's say, abc123.info. Okay? Well, you will use that as your from address when you send out the email. So you're not going to be using abc.com, you're going to be using abc123.info, okay? And when you send that out, okay, you're going to be sending it out through that domain connected to your dedicated server. Well, when you do that, you need to understand what happens is that, see, if anybody reports you as spam or tries to blacklist that domain name, you can throw away that domain, because, see, you have to understand, you can't get in trouble from anything that's inside the body of the email. So if the body of the email says to go to abc.com, you're perfectly fine. But the from address field is where you get in trouble. So if it says it's coming from abc.com, people can take that domain name off the internet. They can literally take your website away from you, and kick you off, report you to ICANN, do all sorts of bad stuff. So what you have to do is get one of these throwaway domains like abc123.info and send out your email there, direct everybody in the body of the email to abc.com. And so what ends up taking place is that you're sending everybody to your website. That way, if anybody attempts to fire retribution against you for blasting them a million times with emails, that you always have the recourse. You can throw away that domain and just throw up a new one on your website, which I highly recommend that you buy many domains. Many throwaway domains. Have at least about 5, 10, maybe even 20 different throwaway domains, and get them off there after a couple days of emailing, so that you can always maintain a whitelisting with your IP address. Okay, now, how does GoTrusted.com and Macro Expert fit into all this? Okay, well, here's the thing. When you send out a lot of email like I do, I send out, I don't care. You might have it in your mind, well, Josh, I'm only going to send out 500 messages. Listen, I don't care if you send out 500 or 500 million. It doesn't matter to me. You just need to listen to what I say and do exactly what I tell you to do. Go to GoTrusted, and what you need to do is you need to download this secure tunnel. And now, there is a paid version, and it's like $5 or $6 a month or something like that. Pay for it, okay? It will help you. Because what it does is it completely provides protection and privacy from hackers, monitors. What it does is it masks your IP address. And what it does is it allows, essentially allows you where if you send out this email, that you can do it with complete anonymity, from your personal IP address. Well, you have to understand why this is important. I'm going to give you an example. I live in South Carolina. I live in the country. Well, there's not that many internet service providers out here. Matter of fact, cable, internet won't even reach my house because the signal's not strong enough. So DSL is the only way I can get email out to people. Well, here's the thing. AT&T, if you get one complaint with these guys, they can literally shut off my internet. Well, this internet's my source of income, so I can't get shut off from the internet. So what I have to do if I send out email this way is I first go through the secure tunnel. Like here, what it says disconnected, connecting, and it says connected. It'll be green. Once it's green, if I go on the internet, it won't even read Greenville, South Carolina as my IP address. It'll read I might be from Tacoma, Washington, or Hollywood, Florida, for example. And so it'll read those different IP addresses. So that way, once I'm connected to that IP address, then what I do is then I set up my campaigns through the Turbo Mailer. Now, this is where Macro Expert is going to come into play, because here's the problem with sending out outbound email on an SMTP server relay system, even with a dedicated server. all outgoing mail, basically all internet service providers like AT&T, Time Warner, Comcast, Verizon, they all have put blockers on all outgoing email. And so what happens is when they put out these blockers on outgoing email, they basically have done that because of net neutrality. They only allow you basically between either 100 or even 1,000 emails to go out per email blast. Well, you know, a lot of people they'll use this type of system. They'll try to use a remote desktop program, a bulk mailer, and they'll send out 10,000 emails a day, and they'll wonder why 99% of it gets bounced back to them, and they'll think, well, I just bought a bad list. It has absolutely nothing to do with the list that you just purchased. It has to do with the fact that your internet service provider is blocking you. So the way around that is you have to basically and essentially break your lists down into groups of between 100 to 1,000 apiece. Okay, you have to basically break the list down into miniaturized campaigns. Well, this is where Macro Expert's going to really help you, because what Macro Expert does is it's an automated, repetitive, and routine task manager. And what it does is you can program it to basically make these lists break down into small groups of about 1,000 apiece. And what the Macro Expert will do is it will essentially keep doing the same repetitive task over and over and over and over again for you. So what you need to do is, I mean, this would normally take you literally hours and hours a day to send out 250,000 emails. Well, with Macro Expert, all you have to do is set this thing up on autopilot, download, get the paid version, it's $60, and what you do is you set this thing up, set it up on your auto mailer, and just sit there, and it just blasts out an email for you all night long. You set this thing up at 10 o'clock at night. By the time you wake up, the next morning, you sent out 250,000 emails. You're getting 100 new clients for the next day. So when you have to use all these things in unison. So you get your mass mailer, you go and get your dedicated hosting. You get your throwaway domain names from name.com. Then what you do is you go, before you start your emailing, you log into GoTrusted first. Then after you've set up your Macro Expert, then you just let Macro Expert work its magic. So that way you're emailing with complete anonymity through the GoTrusted, and you're repetitively task managing that thing so it sends out all night long. So that's how you do it. I know there's a lot of stuff that's in here. Please just keep referencing this video. Watch it 10 times if you have to. But it will all start making a lot of sense once you get into this. And if you know any IT guys and you show them this kind of stuff, it'll probably click with them, and they'll understand how to put all this stuff together for you if you still have additional questions. So I hope that this helps everybody. And this is just one of many different secret tactics that I use on the internet. And as we continue our working relationship, I will help you and reveal, and we will grow, and I'll show you some more as the time comes on. Thank you very much for watching this. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call or email us anytime. Thanks. Bye.